Hello and welcome to the Collector's Impact. My name is DK, and today we're going to go over some Marvel Universe cards that I have picked out and identified that I'm going to send in for the bulk grading service. On the last video that I did on these cards, I showcased about 10 or so cards that I sent off. I already sent them express and standard grading to PSA. They were pretty much the best of the best in my current collection of these cards. If you're interested in seeing that video, links in the description. But very quick recap of the cards and everything is that I've had these cards now for a very, very long time. These are my original cards from the 90s. And they've been stored and preserved pretty well, all things considered. And I've just gone, since the prices have gone crazy recently, I've been combing through them in great detail and trying to find any more cards that I want to send off for, potential quick turnaround grading, and then anything that doesn't quite meet the cut that I still want to have slabbed is in this pile right here. Now this pile is actually, I plan for it to grow a little bit over the next few days because I actually won an auction on eBay for somebody else's collection. It was kind of a fluke incident where somebody posted their collection as a buy it now, and it was like brand newly listed, and it was a pretty reasonable price, so I took a gamble and I went ahead and bought it, and that should be coming in the mail any day now. So I'm going to go through that as well and see if there's any potential cards to grade in there, and I'll update you guys on how that goes and probably make a video on that. But anyway, these are the cards from my original collection. Let's go ahead and go through them and see what's up and why I chose these for bulk versus any sort of expedited grading, and let's see what you guys think about that. Should I send any of them bulk, or should I send any of them expedited that you see, or do you think that it makes sense that I'm sending them all bulk? Alright, first card here. These are from the 1990 Marvel Universe set, this first few. Here you have, of course, Spider-Man. This one is number 29. The key issue with this one is definitely the centering. You can see this side is way bigger than this side. Color is also a little bit off on this card as well, which I find kind of interesting because a lot of them are very, very crisp, but this one has a slight bit of aging to the card. You can kind of tell. So I know with those two things it can't possibly get a PSA 10, but it could definitely get a 9 or an 8. The corners of it are really crisp, and it doesn't have any sort of surface damage or any issues like that. Next we have Captain America, of course, good old Cap. So I started, the front ones here are the A-list characters that didn't quite make the cut, and then you'll see some of the other ones that might have, but they're just not good. Anyway, this is card number 1, numero uno right here. So this, kind of similar to Spider-Man, just it's the alignment is anything that is like visually you can tell with your eye that the alignment is off. I figured there's pretty much no way it's going to get a 10, just with PSA's extreme standards for the PSA 10s. So that's kind of the logic there. Though this one is kind of, I'm debating with all of the A-list ones if I want to just hold them to the side and see how this market goes and progresses over the next few weeks or months, and especially wait to get my other order back and see how it goes trying to sell any into the market before I truly send these off, as I'm not going to see them for a year, so it doesn't necessarily matter too much if I rush to get these particular ones out the door. Next is Thor. And Thor here, his bottom border is a lot smaller than the top border. That's really the only issue there. Coloring and everything is really good. Pretty much all of the cards that I have from the 1990 set are in mint condition in terms of their edges and whatnot. Like these were opened straight from packs and put right into protective sleeves. They weren't fiddled around with or anything. Let me switch to Magneto here. I've got Wolverine. I've actually got 2 Wolverines. This one here is actually like really, it's really kind of close. I mean, the border is bigger on this side, you can tell, but it isn't drastic like the Spider-Man one by any means. This one's card number 10. And it's truly beautiful. Color on this is great. Corners are great. Everything is great except the alignment. Same with this Wolverine. This one is number 37. Yeah, you can tell. Definitely this border's bigger. Other than that, it kind of feels bad sending these in bulk, knowing that I'll never see them for like a year or maybe even longer at this point with PSA. So I'm really kind of on the fence with this, honestly. And then over here, I've got, this one's a rookie card. I love how they did that, rookies. So the rookies, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy came out in 1990. So here's the card to commemorate it with all of the characters. And this one currently isn't really worth that much, comparatively at least to the other cards that you can get in PSA 10. The PSA 10s of these are worth a good, you know, half the price of some of the other ones. So, but I definitely want that in my collection personally. So I think that one, that definitely is going bulk. This one too. These were in the B-list characters now. So Ghost Rider, it's his rookie card as well. I would have considered sending this one standard to get it back within a month or two, but that bottom border is just, you know, the alignment. So it's probably a PSA 9 all day long, which is fine with me. It's a really nice card. The presentation, the artwork, everything's really nice on that. This one here, we've got the Red Skull. This one I definitely wanted graded in slab for a few different reasons. One is the historical relevance of it all and the use of this now extremely forbidden symbol in modern times. I just don't think that they would ever produce a card like this moving forward, which makes it even rarer from a historical standpoint. I just think that for the cultural relevance and historical relevance, this card is definitely worth getting graded for that. Silver Surfer. This card's yeah, just an alignment issue, but also B-list. I mean, Silver Surfer's kind of awesome, but he's no main A-lister. So. All right, next we got Daredevil. This is where it kind of gets borderline. Over here, you know, his border, the alignment isn't off terribly, and the card is actually really beautiful in terms of its color saturation. This one really pops off of the page. The white borders are super vibrant and white. But yeah, the alignment, you can definitely tell, but it's not drastic, but you can tell that that border's bigger than this one. And he's a B-list character, essentially, so didn't quite make the cut for any sort of expedited. This one is actually pretty nice. I mean, it's Spider-Man versus Venom, but again, you know, you're going to hear me say it a lot this video, unfortunately, but the alignment issue. But in terms of the mint condition nature of the card, I mean, these are all well worth $10 to have them graded. Alright, now we move on to the 1991 set. This one is actually really not bad. Yeah, Venom from 1991, it just doesn't pack the same price tag as the one from the 1990 set, considering that was essentially the first, you know, minus the ones from the 1960s that are kind of irrelevant in comparison to these. I mean, this is a beautiful card. Overall, alignment's not perfect, and I think it has like maybe a little teeny tiny bit of imperfection on it. Nothing that I can see with the naked eye, though. Yeah. Alright, now this one is pretty obvious. Good old Spider-Man here from 1991. That border, just like the one in the 1991 that I have, for whatever reason. They just love having this giant border on this side and a skinny one on this side. So if it wasn't for that, I think I would have already included that one in the last order for expedited grading. Here's good old Magneto. This one is, I mean, it's beautiful as well. The top border is definitely bigger, so that's why it didn't make the cut either. And this one is the last one from the 1991 that I've pulled out for now. Good old Captain America Shield. The colors on this are just so vibrant. The image is... I really like this card. If it was perfect alignment, that would have definitely been expedited. That's that's like worthy of display right there. Right, now we're into the 1992 set. Now the 1992 set is unique in several ways, but the main one being that there is no actual border to the cards. So that's good, I would think, in terms of the alignment and worrying about alignment-based issues. It definitely helps with that. But then where you get rid of one thing, there's always something else, right? So with the 1992 set, the issue is the machines that cut the cards and the material that the card is printed from itself. They have a strong tendency to have some issues near the borders, where when the machine was cutting, it just, and there's a little bit of cardboard tears, not from mishandling or misuse of the card. They just come right out of the pack that way. So here's Thor. These are actually, I mean, these are so nice, you know, the main A-list characters from here. I mean, it looks beautiful. There's no corner issues. There's no surface issues outside of that. I mean, this one's very clear. You can see that the cutting blade just destroyed that side of the card. And I personally don't know how lenient or strict PSA would be with that, considering that it's not, you know, damage that was done by mishandle or misuse of the card. That's just how it was produced. But I know, and you know, that probably is not 10 worthy just because of that damage. But it is worth $10 to have this slabbed, especially since the front is so beautiful. Good old Captain America. These are all kind of a similar story. I mean, they're definitely minty in terms of the corners and in terms of the surface, but they all exhibit that blade cuttage. I mean, most probably came from the same box for this particular lot, since these were all my originals. It's good old Carnage. Now, Carnage, you know, I'm not a super comic book person, but I think that Carnage is from this era, right? Like, this might actually be Carnage's rookie card, the first appearance of Carnage, which might make this card a bit more valuable and desirable. So this is one that I'm also on the fence with. I have to do more research and see if I want to send this bulk or if I want to keep this on the side for potentially sending it in expedited once I get the other cards back and assess the market at that time period, probably in March or early April. Yeah, I mean, the card is really nice. Here's Jean Grey. These, as they get more into the B-list characters, the cards get better in condition, but they're just not as prioritized because of the B-list nature of the character. I mean, Jean Grey's awesome and all, but she's no Thor or, you know, anything like that. Here's Rogue to go right along with Jean. Yeah, overall, just such a nice card. These are going to look so good when they're slabbed up. And I think they could, this one especially could easily pull a 9, potentially a 10 as well. That's what's really nice about this pile. There are some potential 10s in here, especially as we get down into the B-list characters. There's definitely potential for PSA 10s. Storm. Yeah, Storm has the same kind of issue at the top there. I actually think that it looks worse on camera than it is in real life. I mean, it's definitely noticeable, but it also depends on the angle and everything in which you view it at and the light. But that's enough for PSA to knock it down to a 9 or an 8. Alright, here goes Wolverine. I really like that one. That art is awesome. See, now this is what's kind of interesting about these cards. Like this box that Wolverine is in, it looks like it's out of alignment, but I'm not sure if that's intended or not. So this is one of those kind of edge cases with a card where it has a defined box and border and everything, but not really, considering obviously the claws and the image comes out of the card. The claws come pretty close to the border. So in terms of artwork and presentation for the card, it's pretty ambiguous as to how they would grade this in terms of its alignment. Yeah, so things like that are slightly confusing when it comes to these templates. Alright, next we go into some Skybox cards. So this is the Skybox Marvel 1993 Masterpiece series. They're a bit more lustrous than the other ones. They're certainly shinier, they're certainly they're just more graphic heavy. They're not as cartoony, they're not as classic comic book art. But the cards themselves, I mean, these are some of my favorites of all of the early 90s cards that came out for the superhero stuff. These 1993 masterpieces from Skybox. So these are just characters that I like. You got good old Psylocke here. I mean, the artwork and presentation on this is outstanding. The cards are in mint condition. It's just they're currently not worth that much in comparison to the older cards. So that's really why these particular ones are in the bulk bin. They are PSA potential, PSA 10 potential all day long for these particular choices. They're just not really priority number one. I personally love them though. They make great display pieces. And lastly here, for the ones that I know that I for sure want to send in for grading, the Wasp. Alright, so that's the ones that I've identified so far that I'm going to grade. Most likely in the bulk tier. I might take a week or so before sending them in just to keep, reassessing and reassess the market and see if there's a few of the key ones that I want to pull out and set aside before going ahead and mailing them the cards. Now, a couple bonus cards here I'll throw into the video is that I've been doing that already in terms of setting some aside that I'm just so on the border with right now that these are kind of in the limbo pile. So these you could tell. I'll go through them kind of fast because I know we're getting up there in time. Alright, so this one's the Hulk. This is from the 1990 cards. And you could tell, that the alignment is off, but not terribly. I mean, this could definitely be a PSA 9. The corners and everything are very, very nice condition. The white from the border really pops. Everything about this card is mint except for the alignment. So, and due to the nature of it being the Hulk, a pretty star character, I'm just waiting to see how the market goes for the next couple of months, because that is a pretty... It may be worth sending that one expedited and getting it back, way before the end of the year or into next year. You know what I mean? So that one is sidelined for now, as well as good old Wolverine here. Very similar thing with this one. Just any that were super, super minty aside from their alignment, I'm setting them aside. I'm in no rush to send these types off to be gone for a year. It just doesn't really matter at that point. And then here's Venom, same kind of thing. This could be PSA 9. And Dr. Doom. God, it's just so nice. The color saturation on these is gorgeous. I can see why people like the 1990 set so much. I mean, aside from it being the first of this era, it's the color saturation is so nice on these. Alright, let's go to 1991. This one is Loki. I like this one for a few reasons. I mean, the alignment first off is pretty good. So right now, you know, I mean, the border down there is a little bit little, but it does have the World Trade Center in it, which is pretty cool. And the artwork overall is just very, I don't know, it just screams early 90s to me, and also just, it's got a lot of flavor. That card is just really nice. Gambit, this one, you know, B-list character, but the alignment is actually pretty good in comparison to that. And I'm kind of, for the top borders, I'm personally assessing from here up, because that's where, you know, a large part of the graphic is. You can't really fairly assess from there, so it has to be from here up. And when you do that, it's a pretty even border all the way around. This has PSA 10 potential. Same with She-Hulk, PSA 10 potential. Mint condition, alignment's good. It's just not a star character. Black Panther, this one's from the 1992 set, and it's one of the better ones that I have for sure in terms of the border. You can tell it's really clean. It's a really clean cut in comparison to some of the others. I mean, this is PSA 10 potential. Same with Ant-Man. And I actually really like Ant-Man. So I could definitely see myself sending in a handful of these for expedited grading in a month or so when the other ones come back. And then we get into the 1993 Skybox Masterpiece cards. I mean, there's Spider-Woman. It's just, the artwork is incredible on these. And they're mint condition, so. I mean, look at Thanos there with the glove. I mean, it's so nice. I just gotta assess the market at that time period. This Thor is beautiful. This one right here is already packing a pretty heavy price tag in PSA 10. So if there was one card out of the whole pile that I'm gonna send with my next like expedited shipping of these cards, this is definitely gonna go. And here's Vision. The artwork on this is great. And then with the show that's on right now, the WandaVision, this might actually get some good traction in the market. PSA 10 potential for sure. And we've got Carnage. And lastly, Captain America. Good old Cap. So all of those 1993 Marvel masterpieces are PSA 10 potential. They're just not at the same level yet in the market as those early cards, but they can certainly get there, I think. Well, anyway, I know that was kind of a long video, and you know, I really appreciate you sticking with me and checking out these cards. Let me know what you think of the cards. Let me know if any of them stick out to you as ones that I should probably hold back on and maybe wait and see from this pile. It'll be probably a few weeks before I send it out, because I also have some other cards coming in the mail. In addition to the collection that I bought some DC cards. Those are actually not hot right now at all, so you can get them for pretty affordable if you are interested in adding some of the DC superheroes to the card collection that you're working on, which I definitely am. I want to get like the A-list characters from some of those notable sets from the 90s. People like, of course, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and a few others. So I'll probably make a video on that as well when I get those cards in the mail. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Give me a like if you like the video. It really helps the channel. And definitely feel free to subscribe if you like this kind of content. I plan to be making more of these follow-up videos to these particular types of cards, these superhero cards, and I'm also going to showcase plenty of other trading card game cards, and probably some sports cards, and PSA grading and reveals and all that fun stuff. So thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. Take care.